Alright, so we left off at the last live stream a few days ago, having finished a large investigation for the reunion and turnabout, keeping in mind that our friend and accomplice in lawyering, Maya Fey, has been accused of murdering a client from her psychic business inside, whatever. And we're pretty sure it's not her, but something to do with her evil aunt and some sort of nurse that's, well, a nurse or a nurse's sister that's somehow gotten involved on getting revenge on some old doctor. And we need to learn about why they would have set this all up, perhaps. So let's get started. Hope everyone had a good sleep, because time for court. Volume might be a little bit high here. Let me see. I feel like the game audio is a little loud. So let's just give me a second here to just turn it down just a touch. Just a few percentages down. Hello, Azure Apostle. Welcome to the stream. You guys feel free to let me know if the game audio drowns me out or anything, but hopefully this is about right. I don't know. Maybe another little touch. I've got a little bar graph that sort of shows me my volumes. The game audio is... I really quite like the soundtrack, so I want to make sure you guys can hear it, but... everything in balance. Anyway, alright, let's go with that for now. Okay, so what's up with Maya today? Yeah, apparently you can be a head prosecutor at the age of 18 in Los Angeles, something like that. Whatever this fictional world is. She mostly just swings her whip around, honestly, so I'm not sure if that counts for too much. Let's not sympathize for the villains, come on. Two murder trials, technically. And the little cousin, I suppose. Sounds good. I don't know how long I'll be streaming today exactly, but chances are we will make it to stream the second case, so yeah, probably make it there. That's unlikely. Somehow, you know, we're not really trusting Morgan Fay too much. We always want to see the boss. One of these days, Phoenix is going to have to grow up and handle things on his own. Oh, I guess this is technically the second case. I always sort of like the first little mini case that gets over in a second is kind of like an introduction. But yeah, if this is the case you love, then yeah, well then the big plot twist is coming up shortly then, because you got to wrap this one up. Day 2 trial already. Ah, right, that makes sense. Because Phoenix is pretty sure that Pearls' mom is in on it, so, yeah, we don't want her to remember. Good old Phoenix Wright. Such a good guy. Alright. Day 2 trial for Maya Fey's second murder of... Alright. So we remember the whip girl from Von Karma. We got Franziska. And we've got Mia already instantly. Excellent. Wearing 8-year-old's clothing, you know. Things would get a little bit lewd here, probably. Ah, we're already back with the Foolishly Fools. Right on it. Until you came up against us. It's always kind of bothered me a little bit in these games that the prosecutors get so caught up on their perfect record. Seems a bit, well, evil, and doesn't really make much sense in a court sense. Alright, yeah, so we gotta figure out where we left off last time. Essentially, we were trying to argue that Maya couldn't have been in the channeling chamber at the time of the murder, because she had the key and we got the key from Pearls before that, actually, so... Or no, we didn't have the key at the time. The timeline is a little bit muddled. But it wasn't in the channeling chamber is the main thing. Yes, good job, Judge. So, okay, this might be important. The prosecution has determined that from the time of the murder to the time of arrest, the defendant did indeed leave the room at one point. Between murder and arrest, she's saying specifically. Right, so we gotta explain this picture. This is, as soon as we bust open the door and we saw Doc Gray dead on the ground, we saw someone who's not really much like Maya Fey holding the murder weapon, covered in blood, but no bullet holes or anything, so suspicious. Also, those of you who've been paying close attention were pointing out last stream that there's some similarities here in the faces, to some degree, but we'll talk about that later. So she's gonna try to say that Maya killed the victim and then left. And dropped the key. Alright, so let's see some proof. Yeah, I'll just get on with it then. Hey, Blood Angel. Welcome. Well, I figured today, being a holiday for most people, probably a good time to catch some new folks for the live stream, so welcome aboard. It is difficult for Mia. This is essentially her versus her sister. Or, is it her sister? Yeah. No. No, this is her aunt, right, yes, sorry. Family, bloodlines, and everything. A spirit medium, okay. Sort of. She wasn't as good as her sister, Misty, though. Out with the whip already. Good job. Is there a way to full screen with the chat? I don't know. I don't use YouTube all that much, honestly. I do put the chat onto the video monitor, but I don't know if there's a way to chat, like type in while you're watching, if that's what you want. I wouldn't even know how to do that on Twitch myself, honestly. Alright, so, after the murder took place, you kept watch over the defendant. She's claimed this before. She looked after Maya after she burst into the room and found the murder, and supposedly the murderer. She performed the spirit-severing technique on Mystic Maya. Now, we've learned a little bit about this in the last section, so if Maya was actually channeling a spirit, she shouldn't have had any dreams or memories of the situation, but she does. So this is suspect here, although it's going to be difficult to prove. There's probably no spirit to sever with Maya, so this whole thing is, well, we're essentially arguing about how magic psychic stuff works in a courtroom at that point. That's cool. Yeah, like I said, I haven't really used Twitch or YouTube live streaming a whole lot, so I'm probably not the right person to answer those. Alright. So she's got this technique that splits spirits and bodies. Simple enough. Don't question parapsychology. It's totally legit. Okay, so something happened while she was supposedly performing the technique. Mystic Maya escaped from the room. Why didn't you say anything about this yesterday? While in a possessed state, somehow managed to escape the channeling chamber. Now keep in mind, we can look at the blueprints of this building. There's not really anywhere for her to go, given where we were at that time, but okay. Just in case you're new, I'll pull up the blueprints. So the murder took place in the channeling chamber, and after we heard a gunshot, we all rushed in to the meditation room, busted down the door that we had no key for, and that's when we saw that picture of what's her name, the ghost girl, and Morgan Le Fay rushed in and supposedly comforted that person who was supposed to be Maya until the police got there. But now she's saying, actually, Maya escaped, but that person we already proved wasn't Maya, so there's some holes here, I think. Alright, let's get that testified. Let's do the cross-examination. Maya's escape. After we heard the gunshots, those two broke the door and entered the chamber. Those two being Phoenix and Lotta Hart, I believe. I requested that Mr. Wright and the other lady contact the police. A pistol was hanging from someone who we already proved was not Mystic Maya, and she was in a daze. I thought we already proved that anyway. Maybe not. Then, quite suddenly, she thrusted me away from herself and escaped from the room. With great strength, she hit me. She hit the base of my neck, and I fainted for a short while. I'm afraid I have no knowledge of where she went after that. Alright. Time to find some holes. Good question. Why have you hidden this until now? Because this is much different than what you told police yesterday. Uh-huh. Yeah. Out of the goodness of her heart. Right. No need to question why she withheld it until now. Alright, let's figure this one out. Smart and sly. Ooh. Alright, let's see. What do we do? So, we've got to press at the right point and present some evidence that contradicts something. So, After we heard the gunshots, those two broke the door open and entered the chamber. That sounds correct at first glance. You could probably press and get some information on who those two were, but it doesn't really matter. We'll do it, but I doubt this will be the right direction. Yeah. Who were those two? Just to keep it all clear here. The foreign lady and Phoenix, of course. Foreign accented lady. No need to be rude, Morgan. I requested that Mr. Wright and the other lady please contact the police. This again, I believe, is correct. Lotta had time to take 2 pictures. Phoenix looked around a little bit, but we really didn't have, like, she ushered us out pretty fast so that she could doctor the crime scene is what we're assuming here. But let's continue pressing. Sure, that's a reasonable question, right? Should have helped out detain the suspect, sure. Oh, I'm just mumbling to myself. No need to question what I'm saying. Question further. So what was the other reason that you wanted us out of the room? Yeah, you must testify. Why did you chase us out of the room? She was doing it for our own benefit, trying to keep us alive, away from the murderer. Putting the noble Morgan Fay alone in the face of danger. Yeah. Not that I'd buy it for a second. A pistol was hanging from Mystic Maya's hand. So, essentially what we established last time, I'm trying to get this straight. Yeah, it's probably true. But he is a lawyer, and I'm not sure if that rule applies to the lawyer, more so the detectives and the judge. You might be allowed to play the legal defense card for your friend. I'm not sure. It's a little suspect, though. I'll give you that. So, just to clear these up again, these 2 pictures were taken right after Lotta busted. So we busted into the room, took a picture, and took a picture. And we already knew that there was a bullet hole in the kimono that Maya was wearing when she was arrested. So how come there was no bullet hole here after the 2 gunshots had been fired was one of the big questions. And also, this doesn't look like Mystic Maya at all. So what's the deal with that? How could, like, we already have witness testimony that there was no one else in the room at this point as soon as we broke the door. So this point seems a little suspect. So, you know, this is probably the right time to start getting serious. During our investigation, you stated that you struck the defendant on the head, and this strike caused Maya to lose consciousness. Do you stand by the statement? Oh, you just lied. On court. Lied to the court the other day. It's fine. So, let's just basically throw this witness out. No credibility. Oh, sure, you just caught my witness in a lie. I object to asking her questions. She was covering for Maya. So again, this is probably like a trap, but we're gonna have to keep questioning because we need to get down to the truth one way or the other. Let's keep going. You're covering for the defendant. How did that work? So she's saying she didn't know that Maya had killed Gray at this point? The renegade. Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't bust into the room, but you did rush into the room and find someone with a gunshot and knife wound, and one other person. This unexpected thing that Maya did. We're not going to tell you about it, though, because it's a secret. Then, quite suddenly, she thrusted me away from herself and escaped from the room. I feel like perhaps this will be the key point here, because as far as I remember, during that whole scenario, she pushed us out of the channeling chamber and locked the door behind her, or closed the door behind her, essentially. The cops arrived pretty quickly, but I'm pretty sure, I thought anyway, Lauda and Phoenix sort of hung out in the meditation room. I could be wrong, but like, how could she have gotten out without anyone noticing, essentially? But we'll see. That's my hunch at the moment. So how did the little girl escape from you? How does that work? Right, we're gonna argue that the psychic projection makes you physically bigger and stronger. So that's how you overpower Morgan. So basically, Mystic Maya's body was still that of the nurse she had called. Supposedly. With great strength, she hit me at the base of the neck. Did you go to the doctor? Did you get any medical reports? Elaborate. This is really good elaboration. I have no knowledge. Come on, you gotta know something. Where else could you go? There was one door. Well, I haven't found any good breaks yet, so let's keep questioning. So while you were unconscious, sometimes Phoenix is so dense. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Okay. You got me there. Haha! How could you know for sure she even left? Because when I woke up, she was gone. No? The witness cannot confirm that Maya left. So the whole point of this first section is just to prove, or try to prove, that Maya might have escaped, and that essentially our original witness doesn't know what happened. Great. So there was nothing There was no contradictions, there was nothing. It was just, well, mostly a waste of time, to be honest. No, we just said that we can't establish that. All we've established is that she could have, maybe, but we don't know anything. She could have stayed in the chamber. Come on, Judge. We're still making a pretty big assumption here. I feel like, again, in court, this kind of terminology, calling her the escapee and the murderer and stuff, would never go over, because she's still innocent until proven guilty. It's the defendant every time. Hostile language. Objection for something. I object on principle. Alright, so supposedly she went to speak to someone. Okay. Oh, look! The other collaborator that's been working with Miss Morgan. Surprise. Yeah. So remember, we already basically know that this whole Dit's Head, Airhead stuff is a play. It's totally a show. It's like Eeny Meeny, but maybe not exactly Eeny Meeny. She's like researching, but maybe also not doing that for real. I feel like every time she says the word like, it's just not actually telling the truth. It's like, I'm not really honest. Yeah, just tell the judge to go home. Get out of the courtroom. Now, she's previously said that she was having a nap during this whole scenario and didn't find out anything about this until the cops showed up. So again, she's changing her original testimony, sort of witness statement. Suspicious that two witnesses changed both of their stories on the second day of court. That almost never happens. Like, every prosecutor pushes the judge around. It's terrible. Okay, so like, when the channeling started, I was like, sleeping inside the room. Like, a little later, someone came into the room, like, really suddenly. It was like, oh my god, totally my sister. I, like, hadn't seen her in, like, so long. I was so happy. Like, in a sad way. My sister, she, like, told me something. Like, totally terrible. Illuminating. Not Maya, but actually Meanie. Supposedly. So let's get down to business here. Like, yeah? Just playing this out as long as they can, those two. My sister, like, this is what she said to me. That was no accident. I was drugged with sleeping pills. I was murdered by that person. That's why I took my revenge. It's only fair, isn't it? Eenie?